Hurricane Felicia starts to weaken, and forecasters say it should be a tropical storm or depression when it reaches the state.
The precise impact on the islands is going to depend on that track and intensity.
Oahu streams get a cleanup to prepare for the possibility of heavy rain. Added traffic and the loss of farmlands, just some of the concerns over a new development in the Ewa Plain. And a major ground beef recall because of salmonella, and some of the meat was sold in Hawaii.
From KHON 2 News, this is Hawaii at 10 with Joe Moore, Hawaii's #1 news.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on this Thursday, the 6th of August. Forecasters say Hurricane Felicia is showing signs of slowing down, but at this hour it is still a Category 4 storm. As Justin Cruz tells us, though, Felicia is expected to be a tropical storm or depression by the time it reaches the Big Island next week. Justin?
Joe, we saw a minute decrease in winds today, but even that small drop from 140 to 132 miles per hour still leaves the storm as a Category 4 hurricane. The latest computer forecasts have Felicia dropping to a tropical storm or into a tropical depression on Tuesday morning. All islands now fall within the forecast cone, even though it runs through it looks like the Big Island runs straight through the middle of the cone. It still could steer to the north or the south over the next few days. The cone will eventually begin to shrink, and we'll get a little better indication of where Felicia will track. I'll have more on Hurricane Felicia a little later. Joe, back to you.
Thanks, Jess. Officials at the National Weather Service say Felicia will weaken as it heads over the islands, but warn residents to prepare for heavy rains. They say Felicia's precise impact is going to depend on its track and intensity, and that areas, especially over higher terrain and mountain regions, are prone to its downpours.
We are pretty certain at this point that we are going to see significant weakening of Felicia. But even a tropical storm or strong tropical depression can bring just loads of rain and gusty, strong winds to the island.
Meanwhile, 5 hurricane hunters are expected to arrive at Hickam Air Force Base tomorrow to track Felicia. Big Island residents are taking the advice of civil defense officials by stocking up on storm supplies. The Home Depot in Hilo set up this display showing folks exactly what they need in their hurricane kits. Big Island civil defense officials say all agencies are on alert ahead of the possible storm, and the Public Works Department has already begun filling sandbags.
This is the part that gnaws at you, is you don't know until it gets a little closer, and then you have to respond accordingly. But everyone has been lit up, and everyone knows that there may be some kind of impact, and they best be prepared for it.
We have food and water, canned goods and water set aside.
Big Island Civil Defense says a decision on school and government closures will likely come sometime on Sunday or Monday. City and state agencies are also staying proactive by clearing bridges and streams. Manoa residents and business owners know all too well what heavy rains can do to a clogged stream. A massive storm in 2004 caused a flash flood through Manoa Valley, causing millions of dollars in damage.
We're always kind of concerned whenever, the big storms come up, because the flooding potential for, this area here in Manoa is actually pretty scary. Our building has, been proactive and tried to make sure that this stream is always clear so that we can do whatever we can to mitigate flooding.
City crews on Oahu are clearing drainage channels and removing debris and overgrowth at streams in Manoa, Makiki, Palolo, and Hawaii Kai as Felicia approaches the islands. For the latest forecast information on Hurricane Felicia, visit our website, KHON2.com. You'll also find information on hurricane kits and shelter locations in case that becomes necessary. A man is in police custody tonight after an attempted burglary that happened earlier this morning. Police were called to Lagoon just before 7 o'clock. Victims say they pursued the suspect, whom they knew personally. after receiving a tip that he was in the area.
I wanted to call in a couple guys. We know where this guy stays. The guy used to work for me, came down, and we did some bounty hunting on our own. Talked to a couple of guys called us up. We came back down here, grabbed him, gave him to the police.
Police say the 49-year-old suspect was taken to an area hospital to be treated for wounds. It's unknown if the wounds were caused by the victims. Almost 12,000 new homes, 5 schools, and dozens of commercial buildings. That's what's being proposed for the Eva Plain, continuing the expansion of Oahu's second city. Breanne Randall joins us with more. Breanne?
Joe, the developer of the project says it's all part of the city's master plan for the area, but Eva residents have major concerns.
A new development is on the horizon between Waipahu and Kapolei. D.R. Horton Schuler Homes plans to turn this farmland into a whole new Eva Plain community, a total of 1,500 acres that would sustain about 12,000 new homes and additional commercial space.
5 areas planned for an entire public school complex. So there'll be a high school, a middle school, 3 elementary schools.
And another 200 acres for parks. The developer says it's all part of a long-term plan to create a second city.
But we're at the very last piece now, you know, and the problem is it's such a precious piece. We need to preserve this agricultural land.
Keone Dudley has been holding town hall meetings for weeks in the Eva area, speaking out against the project. His biggest concern, traffic. With more homes, he sees more cars on roads already in gridlock. The developer says road improvement projects in the works now were planned to help even for future expansion. But drivers will not be the only ones impacted.
This 12,000 houses sits on our most valuable, the most precious, and highest producing agricultural land in the state.
Land now occupied by businesses like Lagoon farms, but turning their green crops into new homes is no real surprise to them.
Long before we owned it, the farmers knew the interim nature of their leases out there, that this area was always planned for development.
The problem is the people didn't know. We're having these town hall meetings. We're really canvassing all the neighborhoods with flyers to make people aware of what's going on.
While turnout has been small, Dudley says he won't stop until the project is.
We've always just allowed it to happen. Nobody has ever really tried to stand up and say, you know, enough is enough.
The proposed development still needs approval by the Land Use Commission to build on the ag land. Breanne Randall, KHON 2 News.
A Good Samaritan who tried to pull a man from the Hilton Hawaiian Village Lagoon says more attention needs to be paid to an underwater hazard there. Last Thursday, an Oahu resident in his 50s died after being pulled unconscious from the lagoon. One of the men who tried to rescue him says the man's leg was held by a suction pipe.
The bottom part of his leg, from about mid-calf down to his ankle, was caught in what looked to be a drain, like where the water comes in and out of the lagoon. I don't know what he did prior to getting there, but I just know once his leg was in there, it took 3 of us to pull him out.
A buoy labeled Danger Rocks floats above the suction intake, which can cycle the entire lagoon 5 times a day. Hilton issued a statement saying they are cooperating with local authorities in their investigation. Hawaii Safeway stores are advising customers to check their freezers for ground beef that's being recalled because of salmonella concerns. The USDA is recalling more than 800,000 pounds of beef. A lot of the meat was sold in Safeway stores, including here in Hawaii. The beef was sold between June 6th and July 14th. Officials say the beef is connected to at least 21 salmonella cases in Colorado. All of the victims are recovering. You can log on to our website, KHON2.com, for more information. With 29 days before the first game, the University of Hawaii football team opened fall camp this afternoon in Manoa. Coach Greg McMacken was on the field to lead the team through the first day of practice. The season opener is September 4th against Central Arkansas. John Veneri will have reaction from the players coming up a little later in sports. And it's been stalled in the Senate for years, but today the Akaka bill received some major backing at a key hearing. Details when our Channel 2 News continues.
This portion of KHON 2 News is sponsored by the Hawaii Honda dealers. Shopping for a great deal on a new Honda? Check us out at hawaiihondadealers.com.
Mr. Opportunity here, and over there is the ever so reliable Accord. And if you're seeing me, it's Honda clearance time. So now's your chance to get up close and personal with the car that has the best resale value in its class and the highest owner loyalty. Hey, what can I say? It's a love thing. Check out these attractive numbers. Oh, speaking of love, your Honda dealer wants to share it. The 2009 Honda Clearance. Just remember, it's the only thing from Honda that won't last. I'm Mr. Opportunity, and I'm knocking.
Oh yeah, a Mondo burrito made with rice and beans, meat, cheese, and fresh pico de gallo, all handcrafted into one giant burrito. It's a huge burrito for a huge appetite, and proof that bigger is better. Oh yeah, Taco Del Mar, keeping it real.
Some customers know us as Kales, others as Cullies. Either way, when it comes to natural foods, we provide the same personal service and trusted product knowledge. Try us, Cullies. Natural foods with a caret between the E and the S.
Pacific Business News presents Business Leadership Hawaii 2009. Help us recognize local business leaders with your nominations in these categories: Business Leadership for Leadership at Work and Beyond, Best in Business for Excellence in Large and Small Businesses, Nonprofit Leadership, Community Commitment by a Company, and Innovative Company of the Year.
Help us find those who are demonstrating leadership in tough economic times. Please call Pacific Business News at 955-8100 for nomination information.
Stay connected with Hawaiian Telcom's home phone service. Visit hawaiiantel.com/reliable to learn more.
Honolulu police are at the Campbell Industrial Park tonight after reports that a body was found. Police say they are investigating the scene on Hanua Street. The city medical examiner and the criminal investigation division were also called. No roads are closed. We have a crew on the scene and we'll have the latest information on Hawaii's morning news if we do not get an update during this newscast. A Hawaii-based sailor was killed while supporting combat operations in Afghanistan. Marine Corps officials say 21-year-old Petty Officer Christian Garcia of Florida died yesterday in the province of Farah. Garcia was a decorated hospital corpsman assigned to the Marine Corps base in Kaneohe. He joined the Navy in July of '06 and was deployed to Afghanistan in May of this year. The Akaka bill had a key hearing in the U.S. Senate today. The Senate's Indian Affairs Committee heard from a top Obama administration official in support of the bill that would set the stage for federal recognition and self-governance for Native Hawaiians. The committee is signaling strong support.
This, I think, is an important step for our country in an attempt to redress the wrongs that our government has committed against the Native Hawaiian people.
The Senate and House versions of the bills are expected to be taken up again later this fall. The law would provide a structure for Native Hawaiian governance. That entity could enter into discussions with the state of Hawaii and the federal government. The U.S. Supreme Court has a new justice. The Senate confirms Sonia Sotomayor today. She will be the 111th Supreme Court justice and the first ever of Hispanic descent. She will also be one of only 3 women to serve on the court. Sotomayor was confirmed by a vote of 68 to 31. She will be sworn in on Saturday. And the Senate also approved a $2 billion lifeline for the popular Cash for Clunkers program today. The House approved the measure last week. Lawmakers made sure to keep the popular program alive before heading home for a month-long vacation. Under the legislation, consumers can get up to $4,500 when they trade in their old cars for more fuel-efficient models. President Obama is expected to sign the bill. Social networking came to a halt online today thanks to hackers. Twitter said it suffered a denial of service attack in which hackers command scores of computers toward a single site at the same time, preventing legitimate traffic from getting through. The Twitter site was down for several hours. The same type of attack also slowed the Facebook website. The attacks may have been related to the ongoing political conflict between Russia and Georgia. A group that tracks internet attacks says it started with spam email messages written by an activist from the region. Up next, an offer of free food after a restaurant takes its no shoes, no service policy a little too far.
At Foodland, we're looking for ways to serve you better, which is why we now offer our ready-to-cook seafood kits. Quick and simple meals for two that you can enjoy in just minutes. Foodland, where it's always about fresh. Food, family, and friends.
Giovanni Pastrami Sports Bar, New York-style deli, pizzeria, and home of Waikiki's largest breakfast selection, served from 7 a.m. until midnight. Enjoy Rubens, pizza, burgers, and pasta. And be there Saturday, August 8th for the UFC 101 party. Giovanni Pastrami on Lure Street.
What do you say to a spin around the color wheel? To paint with primer already mixed in. Test samples instead of canned commitments. What do you say we dip into our wallets less and grab a hold of the latest tools out there so we can quit all that messing around with extra steps and get busy turning our doing dials up a notch? More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
So what's the problem?
These are hot. We're shipping them everywhere.
Well, we can't predict our shipping costs.
Dallas, Detroit, different rates.
Well, with us, it's the same flat rate. Same flat rate. Boston, Boise? Same flat rate.
Alabama, Alaska?
With priority mail flat rate boxes from the Postal Service, if it fits, it ships anywhere in the country for a low flat rate.
Dude's good.
Dude's real good.
Dudes. Priority mail flat rate boxes, only from the Postal Service. A simpler way to ship.
Who would you turn to if you were homeless? If you were an abused child? A victim of domestic violence? A senior trying to stay independent? Or a young woman pregnant and alone? Last year, more than 60,000 people in need turned to Catholic Charities Hawaii. Visit CatholicCharitiesHawaii.org to see how you can help. We help people in need to help themselves, regardless of their faith.
A new television commercial financed by a local union says Hawaii jobs are going to mainland workers. The Local Jobs for Local People campaign, funded by the Painters Union, says mainland workers are being used on high-priced construction projects like the renovation of Aloha Stadium instead of local workers.
It's a campaign we have to let the public be aware of our tax dollars being siphoned out of the state. The local people, if they work on these jobs, they'll spend money here back in the state. These other out-of-state contractors, they'll take the money back to where they came from. So we just want the people to be aware of what's going on.
The state comptroller, Russ Saito, says the contractor for the job is a local company, but they are not required to hire locally. Saito says the Painters Union should direct their concerns at the responsible contractors, not the state. Residents in Waterloo, Iowa now have another way to contact emergency officials. An emergency call center in Waterloo is now accepting text messages sent to 911. It's the first of its kind in the country. Texting in an emergency could help the area's deaf and hard of hearing residents who have to rely on other methods to reach 911. And officials say the response with a text could be even faster. A woman and her 6-month-old baby will be getting the royal treatment from a Missouri Burger King. Jennifer Frederick and her baby were asked by management to leave the restaurant because the baby did not have shoes on, violating the no shoes, no service policy. A spokeswoman for the restaurant chain says the manager took the policy too far and apologized for the incident. Burger King's owner is asking the pair to come back and enjoy a free meal. The franchise is retraining his restaurant team on the proper use of the no shoes policy. Justin Cruz joining us now to take a look at our island weather.
Hurricane Felicia has become a notorious hurricane with those wind speeds, and that's just fine and dandy in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, but we don't want any weather records broken near Hawaii. A closer look at Felicia is up next.
Sometimes the best way to get closer is to get as far away from it all as possible. Don't let erectile dysfunction get in the way. Viagra, America's most prescribed ED treatment, can help you enjoy a more satisfying sexual experience. Ready to talk to your doctor? Find out how at Viagra.com. Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Don't take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing, upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease in vision or hearing. 20 million men have had the Viagra conversation. Ask your doctor if Viagra is right for you.
Mr. Opportunity here, and behind me is the CR-V, best-selling crossover in America. And you guessed it, it's Honda clearance time, the only thing from Honda that won't last. So when you have a chance to get a car that's reliable as the day is long and very fuel efficient, now's the time to act, especially when saving money is part of the deal. So go see your Honda dealer. Hey, who couldn't use some good news for a change? The 2009 Honda Clearance. I'm Mr. Opportunity, and I'm knocking.
It's about you, your lifestyle, your little rewards.
Welcome to John Dominus. For over a quarter of a century, an island tradition.
John Dominus, the most romantic fine dining restaurant in Hawaii. Fresh fish and seafood daily, unbelievably tasty sushi, an ambiance, an atmosphere that can only be John Dominus. Reward yourself and someone special. John Dominus, only in Hawaii.
Can this courageous surfer ride the waves to the correct answers?
Otherwise, it is a wipeout.
Bummers. Fifth grader.
Friday on KHON. With KHON2 weather, Justin Cruz.
Hurricane Felicia is showing signs of erosion. The most obvious sign is the eye. The eye is starting to shrink, and that ring that you see around the eye, especially in the past 6 hours, has started to erode a bit. That's the area of heaviest rain and the strongest winds. It's been fading over the past 6 hours, and the continued weakening is on track with the current forecast, which puts Felicia near or over the state by early Tuesday morning. Now, probably the biggest X factor in this entire equation is how strong or weak will Felicia be when it approaches the state at its closest point of approach. It could be as strong as a tropical storm, that's 40 miles per hour, or a tropical depression with 29 miles per hour. Much of the weather forecasting is math, so there are some probabilities involved, and there's only now a 4% chance that Felicia will be a hurricane over Hawaii on Tuesday. A 39% of Felicia being a tropical storm, tropical depression at 36%, and dissipating at 21%. Those are the odds. That being said, when Felicia first formed in the very beginning days ago, there was only a 35% chance that Felicia would become a hurricane, and now it's a Category 4 hurricane. The system's already beat the odds and is the strongest hurricane in the East Pacific since Hurricane Daniel back in '06. Tomorrow, we're looking at some great Aloha Friday weather, partly cloudy skies, isolated showers, similar conditions Islands, as today, have that sunblock ready. We'll have a high near 90 degrees. The east shores are up on trade swell 4 to 6 tomorrow, but that's small compared to the larger east swell that is expected to arrive Sunday through Thursday due to Hurricane Felicia nearing the islands. High surf warning, probably more of a possibility than an advisory. Weather is looking calm until Felicia arrives. We could see heavy rain from Felicia starting on Monday as a tropical storm, or better yet, as a tropical depression.
Those odds that you quoted on what Felicia's going to be when it hits the islands, yes. I'm assuming that's from the National Weather Service, not yes. Las Vegas?
No,
okay.
No, those are not Vegas odds.
Those Las Vegas will bet on when elevators are going up and down.
They're probably betting on this storm right now, but yes, those are National Weather Service. Everything in every report I do is from the National Weather Service.
All right, thanks, Jess.
You're welcome.
Since she announced her departure from American Idol earlier this week, Paula Abdul says she's been in high demand. Abdul says she's fielding a lot of offers right now and deciding her next step. Officials with other TV shows have said she's a major talent and they would consider finding a place for her. Nigel Lithgow, a judge on So You Think You Can Dance, says he's invited her to meet with him to talk about what opportunities are out there. As for American Idol, the show is looking for a fourth judge now to fill Abdul's seat. In the meantime, singers like Victoria Beckham and Katy Perry will serve as guest judges during the audition process. John Veneri coming up next with sports. The UH football team hits the field for the start of fall camp. And later, ever wonder how much of their lives men spend staring at women?
Are you and your gray hair facing an identity crisis?
My hair says experience. My hair says energy.
Touch of Gray. The best of both combs away a little gray, never too much, just right.
Now I look like I know what I'm doing and can still do it.
Touch of Gray.
Living Aloha, driving Honda. Take care of your heart. Join us and learn about heart health, healthy food choices, and exercise. Receive free screenings, a health assessment, lifestyle profile, and counseling. Shop at HawaiiHondaDealers.com.
Connie loves Target for its incredible deals. And with her daughter starting middle school tomorrow, Connie's got some high expectations. She expects look 11 might be the one. She expects look 17 might be the one. So she shops Target, where they've always got her back for back to school. Target, expect more, pay less.
I was trying to figure out how I was going to take care of Frank. Bristol Hospice was like an answer to our prayers. It's like a big team of helpers to help you go through this process that you're going through with your loved one.
Bristol Hospice provides in-home nursing care, medical equipment and supplies, medication, home health, homemaker services, social work, volunteers, and spiritual support. Because every moment of life should be spent living it. Bristol Hospice Hawaii, embracing a reverence for life.
I get a call from Ted that he's coming to work early.
That's how he is.
Typical Ted.
Dedicated.
Totally dedicated.
I heard there was a heart patient in the ER, so I went right now.
That morning, I came in as a cardiac case.
And there's Ted.
I saw what it's like to be a patient. The cardiologist was in the ER with me, and the heart surgeon came in and says, "Don't worry." But that's how it is here at Straub. The whole team comes together for you. It really matters, and I'm glad I was here at Straub.
Hi, everybody. I'm Deborah Norville. Join me tonight for Inside Edition right after the KHON 2 News, Hawaii at 10 with Joe Moore.
With KHON 2 Sports, John Veneri.
Fall camp for the Warrior football team kicked off today. The Warriors hit the field for the first of 19 practices, including 4 double days. Coach Mack on the field leading the troops after his suspension. Hawaii lost 9 defensive starters from last year, so a lot of reloading there. On offense, Greg Alexander pulling the trigger. Got a year under his belt with an arsenal of speedy receivers, but the question remains on the offensive line, a group that gave up a record number of sacks. A lot on the to-do list for the Warrior staff, and just 29 days to do it. Hawaii will open with Southland Conference champion Central Arkansas, who went 10-2 last year and finished 12th in the Football Championship Series national poll. And while the Bears are on their mind, today the Warriors were just excited about starting the season.
Really excited about being around the guys. You know, their effort was outstanding today. They're going to be a tight-knit team. The coaches coached hard. There was a lot of teaching going on and a lot of learning going on.
You know, it's exciting. You know, first day of practice, everybody's excited. You know, excited to get out here and start doing things. You know, kind of still in the beginning stages. We're not doing anything against the defense yet. It's all self-scout, but still a good look. You know, gives the new guys a chance to kind of see what's going on.
Warriors and Bears kick off. Now remember this, it's Friday, September 4th, just 29 days away. Golf now, Reno Tahoe Open, defending champion Parker McLaughlin playing a decent first round. Punahou and UCLA alum played a bogey-free on the front side with one birdie, then on the backside dropped a birdie on 12 and then followed it up right there with a shot of the day, a birdie from the sand going to the bottom of the cup. Back-to-back birdies, got to 3 under par, but Parker wasn't yet done. Par 4 14th, straight shot. Nothing but the bottom of the cup. Third consecutive birdie moved him into a tie for third, 4 under par, just 2 shots back. Parker, though, ended up with 1 bogey that came right here on the 17th hole, his lone blemish of the round, but still good enough to go 3 under 69, 3 shots off the lead. He's tied for 9th place. Spencer Levin shot the lowest score and has the lead. Castle grad Dean Wilson struggling today, 5 bogeys and a double bogey along with 5 birdies. He's way back at 2 over par. Another former Punahou and current UCLA standout, Stephanie Kono, played through pain today to advance to the quarterfinals of the 109th U.S. Women's Amateur in St. Louis, Missouri. Kono has been suffering for about a month with pain in her hip, but was able to beat Stephanie Sherlock of Canada 2-1, and then Allie White of Ohio in the 3rd round to advance to the quarterfinals. Kono will meet Jennifer Song in tomorrow's quarters. Song won the U.S. Women's Amateur Public Links Championship back in June. Shane Victorino is digging into his own pocket to make a dent in the state's budget cut towards public high schools' athletics programs. Last week, 4 private businesses donated a total of $430,000 to help offset the $1.2 million cut. Today, the Maui boy donated $10 grand of his own money, putting the total up to $550,000 and counting. Victorino also on the field today contributing for his Phillies, and a win over the Rockies today. In the 5th, with Jimmy Rollins on 3rd base, the Flying Hawaiian lays it down to 2nd base. Clint Barnes, he can't handle it well enough to throw home, and that ball gets away from him. Victorino with an 0 for 4 day. With that ribby, he's batting .313. Phillies win it 3-1. Yankees hold on the AL East got a little tighter today, taking on Boston. Former Hawaii Winter Leaguer Jabba Chamberlain gets taken deep in the 4th. Casey Kochman, new to the roster, 0 for 2 before this 2-run shot made it 3-1. Jabba went 5 innings, giving up 4 runs on 6 hits, 7 walks, and struck out 5, but still got his 8th win of the season thanks to a couple of big sticks. One, Melky Cabrera put the Yankees up in the bottom of the 4th with a 3-run homer off John Smoltz, who gave up 9 hits and 8 runs, 2 bombs. They'd pull him only to have Jorge Posada welcome Billy Traber to the game. 3-run goner, first win for the Yankees against Boston in 10 games. Yankees win it 13-6, 3.5 up on Boston in the AL East. There he is, our Kanoa Leahy is a jet setter off to Philly tonight, along with cameraman Kenny Mashiyama and our Philly Fights Flyaway winner, Nelson Gutierrez, and his brother George. Got picked up this afternoon by Ho'okipa Enterprises. Stay tuned to KHON all weekend long for extended coverage of UFC 101, weigh-ins tomorrow, as well as highlights and post-fight coverage. Today, the fighters took part in the event's press conference.
I'm excited to defend the title Saturday night, and I'm gonna go out there and do my best, and that's about it. I'm excited and I'm ready to do my best. Thank you.
And for the rest of today's scores, check out khon2.com/sports and follow the links. Good stuff.
You say the UH football season opener, that's September 4th, is a Friday?
It's a Friday, yep.
Now, why is it? The game's not being nationally televised.
It's not being nationally televised, and you know what? It's been a while since they announced that it was going to be on a Friday, and I'm not certain about why they did that, but I'm, you know what? I don't even want to take a guess at it. But Friday, September 4th. Also, the Navy game has just recently been moved because that will be a nationally televised game. They're going to move that a little bit earlier too. So.
But on a Saturday.
It'll be on a Saturday, yeah. So kind of a weird start to the season.
The only thing I can think of, well, it could be two things that jumped to my head. One is maybe it's because Central Arkansas wanted more time to travel, to get back, you know, to not have.
And the good thing for them, it's their first game as well. So yeah, maybe some time to get back.
And maybe the UH wanted that game
a day earlier so they could get more media attention over the weekend?
Possibly.
On the mainland?
Yeah, possibly. And the fact that they're going to be away for a couple of weeks probably doesn't help matters. They're going to go to Washington State and then UNLV. So big first game. It's just going to be weird because it's a Friday and it's you know, hard for everybody with traffic. So we'll just hopefully it gets packed out there.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
Sure.
Finally tonight, we all know men stare at women and vice versa. But now there are numbers to show how much. A new study by Kodak shows men spend an average of 43 minutes a day staring at the opposite sex. Between the ages of 18 and 50, that adds up to 1 year of staring time. The study says men stare at women mostly, you ready for this, in supermarkets, followed by bars and nightclubs. Meanwhile, the women look at men an average of 20 minutes a day, and the study lists bars as the top spot for women checking out the opposite sex.
Supermarkets and bars.
Supermarkets, though. That seems a little...
I don't know.
That's our 10 o'clock news for this Thursday for Channel 2 News. Have a good night and a great tomorrow.
Take care. Left that one right alone. Just leave it alone.